You know, we're not getting up. We're not getting up.
Well, if they want to be, if they want to get to the playoffs, they can't be slipping up against.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. I told you, 7:47, that's my target. Okay. I have seven. Do you have seven? Okay. My watch. All right, we are going to begin our meeting. If you'd join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's see, we don't need to call roll, right? Because we were already here for our exciting, riveting tax rate hearing. If any of you were so fortunate to join us, Carrie did a wonderful job, so thank you for that. We have no special recognitions tonight other than Carrie's fine work. And so next up, I have additions, corrections, and/or modifications to the agenda. Those include 7.01, modification to agenda item 11.19, approval of renewal of Mitel support, CMS Solutions. 7.02, addendum to agenda item 11.04, approval of personnel items. And 7.03, addition of agenda item 11.20, approval of SSD homebound contract and payments. Next up, we have citizen statements. We only have one this evening, and I believe it is someone who has spoken before, so I'm not going to go through my whole little spiel that I read off, but you'll have 3 minutes. And if you just remind us, introduce yourself and remind us your affiliation to Parkway.
So I am Faye Fedek. I am a parent in the South area. I have a 4th grader at Wren Hollow and a brand new 6th grader at Southwest Middle. So I wanted to come tonight, couldn't make it to the last one, but I wanted to share just a slightly new perspective on my outlook for the Early Childhood Center proposal. My daughter's having a great year overall. Her teachers are excellent. The curriculum's been challenging. It's been a fantastic transition. She can't wait for 6th grade camp. But I have noticed something that sort of gives me pause. In the first 6 weeks of school, she's had 2 teachers who've been out for illness, completely normal. Both times her class met simultaneously with another class of approximately 20 students rather than have a substitute for the day. Since Parkway has transitioned away from their own pool of subs to a temp service, Kelly Services, the quality and quantity has seemed to diminish to the point that we are seeing 40-to-1 student-teacher ratios in order for these kids to stay on track with the schedule of learning. So my husband and I were chatting, and we just could not wrap our heads around the fact that Parkway could probably use financial resources like those that they're putting towards this new center to better address the staffing needs in its existing schools before expanding these classrooms at their early childhood level, either by paying substitutes more or going back to the old hiring practices at the district level to ensure that we have qualified professionals. Furthermore, I was in attendance at the Manchester Board of Aldermen meeting several months ago when the owner of the Sulphur Springs Goddard School, right down the street from the proposed center, shared really similar concerns about staffing shortages, particularly in the area of local early childhood qualified educators. So I just wanted to put forth this question: how is the issue being addressed in advance of this proposed expansion? And just to restate that before we break ground on a new facility, it's really imperative to address the lack of qualified teachers in the district in our area. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you very much. As you know, you will receive a response from us in writing shortly. Next up, may I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda for the regular meeting of the Board of Education as scheduled for September 25th, 2024?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Next regular board meeting will take place on Wednesday, October 9th, 2024, beginning at 7 p.m. right here at the Parkway Welcome Center. Next up, it's only been 2 weeks since our last board meeting, but any board superintendent update reports?
I have no deep thoughts for this meeting, so I'm passing.
Okay.
We can do that?
Okay.
Very short. I did attend Central's homecoming football game. Again, I think as I shared last time, not a great outcome for Central. Also went to my daughter's open house at Green Trails. It was great to see projects that were already started, going to different specials, and really seeing what the school does on a holistic level. And then one thing that's on a different note, obviously there's been a lot lately with school safety. And I just wanted to address how proud I am to be in Parkway. I mean, our staff, our administration, our teachers, our students all understand what's going on. And they're truly taking it seriously, as you saw recently in some of the news articles and as well as the interviews that were done with the FBI. That just shows how proud I am to be in Parkway. I mean, we are taking a step forward, hopefully. Hopefully we're seeing some of these things change. And just, again, proud to be part of this.
I agree with that fully. Watching the way we've approached some of the hoax threats has been a good model to follow, and hopefully we'll be able to see progress in reducing those. But much like Matt said, as we just met recently, I don't really have any formal remarks prepared, but excited for the rest of the meeting.
Good evening. I just have one thing that I wanted to bring to your attention. Tomorrow is the first PAMI meeting of the year from 6 to 7:30 here at the Welcome Center. That evening or tomorrow evening, they'll be talking about Parkway's Alliance for Healthy Communities Coalition. Will be there to discuss the data from the Missouri Student Health Survey. So if you're able to attend, I encourage you to come out and find out more information about that. And just for reference, PAMI stands for Parent Advocacy for Multicultural Excellence in Education. Thank you.
Like some of my colleagues, I just want to say a little something about school safety and threats. Obviously, this is a national epidemic of violence in schools and also these threats against buildings and, frankly, our kids. And, as a parent, you feel hesitant to put your kid on a bus in the morning sometimes. And as a kid, I can't even begin to comprehend how much courage it takes just to every day walk into a building, knowing that this is what's going on around you, and the teachers as well. So, while it's, great that, as a district and as a community, we're doing the best we can, I hate that this is the country we live in, but I have so much respect for the teachers and the students that every day get up and walk into a building not knowing what's gonna happen. And, it breaks my heart to have these conversations, and just so proud of all of them.
So just yesterday, I attended the St. Louis County School Board's PLC, Professional Learning Community. I'm on the planning committee for that. And Parkway has graciously agreed to host our next meeting, which will be on December 7th, which will bring together all of the the board members of the different St. Louis County school boards. In addition to, we also extend invitations to St. Louis City, Jefferson County, and St. Charles County school districts as well. And this is going to be our topic of conversation, is on school safety. And we will be inviting panelists to speak on the topic and then have breakout sessions to kind of come together, because all school districts are dealing with this. So we're looking forward to that, and we'll be sending out our save the date invitations to board members throughout the St. Louis County area to talk about that. Also, yesterday, I attended, along with Mr. Todd and Dr. Marty, the mayor and city administrators meeting with those individuals throughout the footprint of Parkway. And it's heavy on their minds as well. And all of their different municipalities having their emergency management planning efforts as well, in collaboration with our police department. So I do too, as was already expressed, feel blessed to be here in Parkway, where we know that our whole community is trying to be safe and look out for the best interest of everyone. On Monday evening, I attended the Special School District's Governing Council meeting. And with that, we reviewed their budget, and also was conducted an orientation for new governing members, and somewhat of a refresher for those who have been serving on the governing council for a longer period of time. And then I also attended on Friday with Mr. Todd and Dr. Marty, along with Eliza Tomich and other representatives within Parkway administration, the Communications Advisory meeting. I'm sure you'll probably talk about that maybe a little bit? No? Okay. So what we did at that meeting was also talked about school bomb threats, and having taken place that day was the press conference with the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office, and Elisa Tomich had attended that and came back and gave us a report on that. Our own Greg Wagner, who's in charge of our discipline process here in Parkway, spoke about what happens to our students when we do learn of students that do make threats. We take these very seriously. It's no joke. They're also asking anyone who sees a threat online or through social media to not repost it, but to take a screenshot and then notify a person in authority of the social media threat that's online, because it gets more complicated to track it down the more it's shared. So they ask that it not be reshared. And Greg did a wonderful job. He represented Parkway very well. And then we also received an update on the communications department, some operational changes taking place there. And so that was, I think, the most of that meeting there. So that's it.
Yep, yeah, ditto. Those were, the mayor's meeting and the communications advisory meeting were the only things I had on my list, so I'll turn right over to you.
Thank you. I'm going to start with just kind of a little sad news that we experienced in Parkway. Jackie Winship, who is a wonderful resource for us, I guess officially, I'm not sure of her title. I always refer to her as Ann Wagner's kind of home liaison, being in the district, passed away last weekend, and I and Kathy Dodge went to the funeral held on Monday. Jackie was just a wonderful resource, working for Ann Wagner, always willing and coming to a lot of our meetings and being supportive of students applying for the military academy. She really was a wonderful advocate of that. She certainly always was promoting the work of our art students and congressional art contests and just a number of things, but always a good resource and always willing to be a participant in discussions that we had. So very, very unfortunate, sudden, and we certainly did express our sympathy to the family. You covered a lot of topics. I will just add that we did have on September 16th, I think that was the date, we had our annual PTO officers workshop here. We had over 100 PTO officers, and when you talk about PTOs and I know their functions, we are so blessed in Parkway to have still active PTOs. That's a lot of school districts are experiencing not being able to maintain that interest, but we really have wonderful participation of our PTOs. We have a district-level council that Annie Dickerson works with. And so we had just a very good evening of presentations. We did have our food pantry there that evening, really appealing to the PTOs to continue supporting the food pantry, which is seeing quite an increase of participation with families. So that was held. You covered very thoroughly safety, so I'm not going to say any more about that, but thank you for recognizing Elisa and Greg and their work last week. And I would just also say that the last 2 days, I had the pleasure of teaching. Again, I was at the Spark Teaching and Learning class covering a topic. When I was in graduate school, I took a 3-credit class on the history of American public education, 36 hours. In an hour and a half, I covered the gamut of American public education. Well, at least some of the highlights. Students were really pretty engaged, and try to emphasize, how vitally important it is. I always think that when you're in an occupation, you got to know the history of the occupation you're in. So tried to highlight the fact that public education, as you know it today, has not always been this way. And it's, there's, if you think about that, I always tell them a little bit about Little House on the Prairie, right? The one-room school, and then we'll think of what we have today and the changes. And the students are really very much alert about, I talked about my career, what didn't we have, as I started my career, and they're aware, you probably didn't have much technology, correct? You probably didn't have school threats to the level, we didn't, so they recognize things are changing, then we kind of project, what do you think is going to happen in the next 30, 40 years? And one of the things that they talk about, something we have in our strategic plan, they're hopeful that schools are more flexible, that we can have, it's not just about coming to school, and that we have more flexibility, more opportunity for them to choose some of their areas and to be really engaged in the work at an early age. So it was a lot of fun being back in essence in the classroom. So very, very, very good. And then I just want to thank Carrie for her work in preparation for tonight. As you mentioned, it was her first tax rate hearing, and I thought she did an excellent job. She's certainly has done a wonderful job in filling big shoes, and I just want to thank her for all her work in preparation, because this is always an important event. We kind of, we don't really think about, but this is really a kind of a big deal, right, to establish the tax rate for our public. And as you can see, our public pretty much trusts us. Otherwise, there'd be a lot of people here in the room. I think they trust the good work that we've done over the years, and I appreciate, again, Carrie's preparation for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is a superintendent search update. One of the things that happened in the last couple of weeks is the search firm that we hired at the beginning of this month, or the end of last month, they conducted focus groups, both in person and virtually. A couple hundred people participated in those. Some maybe 25, 30 different focus groups. Everything from students to parents to staff to administrators, everybody in community members at large. So it was a great participation. We have a survey that is still ongoing, and that window closes this Saturday. So if you haven't taken the survey yet to provide some feedback and some input, please do that. There's a link on the website that is available through this Saturday. The survey is going to be used to develop a leadership profile that the search firm will be here in a couple of weeks to present to us, kind of that character profile that our community, everybody that has participated in focus groups in the survey, kind of the themes that they're coming through with. So that'll be presented for us for our consideration then, and we hope you'll be here to hear about it. So next up is our consent agenda. We have a relatively brief consent agenda tonight. So may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented in the September 25th, 2024 board materials? Is there anything to be pulled to action or closed? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries 7-0. Next up is the adoption of our tax rate for 24-25. First I'll ask, are there any questions? There's none before we proceed. Okay, thank you. May I have a motion and a second that the Board of Education adopt the tax rates by category as presented above in the blended tax rate for the Parkway School District for 24-25 in the amount up to a blended rate of $3.8673 to be distributed with a special revenue fund rate of $2.1555, general fund rate of $1.1607, capital projects rate of $0.0611, and debt service fund rate of $0.49.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please. Thank you.
Mrs. Hopper,
Yes?
Ms. Matt Franklin,
Yes.
Mr. Reedy,
Yes.
Mr. Schindler,
Yes.
Mr. Seltzer,
Yes.
Mr. Spector,
Yes.
Mr. Todd.
Yes, motion carries 7-0. Thank you all. Next up, we have a policy approval, I'm sorry, policy review, which hopefully you've all read. We'll have another, no? We'll have another opportunity to discuss it between now and then, but are there any questions on that policy review? Okay. Hearing none, just like I said, that will be available to discuss at our next meeting. Next up, we have no reports, but we do have a work session tonight. So I'd like to invite Dr. Kevin Beckner, our Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, and Laura Farrelly, our World Languages Curriculum Lead. Join us at the podium.
Well, good evening, President Todd, Vice President Hopper, Dr. Marty, Ms. Stover, members of the board. We had a program evaluation 2 weeks ago where I did not introduce Jeff Lackey, who's been with you before, but we have Lauren Fairley here, I believe, for the first time in front of the board. So wanted to say just a quick word about the fantastic work she's been doing. Lauren joined us beginning of last school year from the Wentzville School District after a long, successful career of teaching the French language and holding many, many roles in their school. They were very sad to lose her, and for good reason, because she has been an amazing addition to the Parkway team, has been doing an excellent job receiving rave reviews from teachers for all of her great work. And here she is tonight to share topics and guiding questions for the World Language Program evaluation. So, Lauren.
I'm going to bring Dr. Beckner with me everywhere I go. That was a really nice introduction. Thank you. Nice to meet you, everybody. My name is Lauren Fairley, and I'm, like Dr. Beckner said, this is my second year in Parkway, and I'm very excited to be working here. I feel very honored to work here, and I'm excited about the work that we're doing. And I hope that I can use this clicker correctly. Is it just this one? Okay. Okay. Thank you. So just a couple of brief slides about our program. We have 5 languages in our program currently: American Sign Language, French, German, Latin, and Spanish. Our levels are level 1, 2, 3, honors level 4, and AP level 5. Level 1 is broken up to a level 1A and level 1B in middle school. They equate a level 1 in high school. We have 43 world language teachers, and we have a very successful SEAL biliteracy program that I'm so proud of. Last school year, we had 188 SEALs awarded in the 2024 school year, and 27 languages represented. That's obviously more than that are in our program, so we have a very diverse population, and I'm very proud of that. I feel like very privileged to work in this school district. Oops. No, you told me, Dr. Beckner, and I clicked the wrong one. This is our current enrollment trends for this school year, just so you can see the breakdown. And I know that's kind of tiny, but just so you can see how many students are taking Spanish, French, and ASL in the middle school levels, how many are taking Spanish, French, Latin, ASL, German, and Japanese in the high school levels. Japanese is part of our St. Louis virtual campus program. We just have 2 students enrolled, and then you can see the combination of both middle and high school. So the important thing to see here is that the bulk of our students are taking Spanish, around 60-ish%, and then the fewest students are taking German and Japanese. Those are being phased out, sunsetted. And then ASL is sitting at the bottom and growing every day. We have a large number of students who are very interested in the ASL language. So you can see those numbers. That's just to let you know kind of where we stand this year. So on August 15th, we had a work session. My department had a work session with Dr. Nathan Tyson, and he walked us through the program evaluation protocol. So we had posters, we had markers, we had Post-its, we had stickers, and we went through our big work session on how to choose our topics and guiding questions for our program evaluation. Those posters, I'm not expecting you to read them, but that's how we worked through and got our questions and topics. So here's our timeline for this year. We already had that work session. I met with the subcommittee of the board on August 22nd. Yesterday, we had a program evaluation leadership team meeting, and today I'm meeting with you here to talk about what our guiding topics and questions will be. And then on April 16th, you get to see me again, and that's when I'll bring back my findings and recommendations for you. So here's our guiding topics in a nutshell. We're going to start with the mission and vision of a world language learner, move on to curriculum and instruction, and underneath the curriculum instruction umbrella, there's a whole bunch of mini topics. We have instructional practices, curriculum, assessment, teaching about culture, and resources. And then our final topic is program structure. So with no further ado, we'll go through the topic and guiding questions. Topic 1 is the mission and vision. So our guiding questions are, what benefits do Parkway language learners gain from enrolling in our World Languages program? In what ways are we cultivating curiosity, open-mindedness, independent thinking, and empathy while helping to expand the perspectives of our language learners beyond self and one's own culture? And how can we effectively integrate the ACTFL 5 Cs, which are our standards for world languages, with the Parkway's 4 Cs for a vision for a learner? Topic 2 is curriculum instruction. This is about instructional practices. Our guiding questions are, what are the best practices for engagement, motivation, proficiency, and authentic use of the target language, which is the language that we are speaking in each of our classes? What strategies can we implement to integrate high interest and engagement in our language learners? We want to have fun. We want the students to have fun. We want them to be motivated. And how can we ensure that our instructional practices are equitable and contribute to a positive learning environment? Topic 2B is curriculum. How can we ensure that curriculum is implemented with a consistent scope and sequence? How can we establish a well-defined curriculum while also allowing for teacher creativity and autonomy? And how can we ensure that our curriculum fosters equitable learning opportunities and classroom environments? Topic 2C is assessment. What are our goals for our students? What do we want them to learn, right? How are we ensuring the students achieve these goals? What types of assessments best show what students are learning and where are they in their learning progression? What are the current best practices on assessment and language acquisition? And how can we collaboratively establish and ensure common assessments and grading practices? Topic 2D is teaching about culture, a very important part of what we do in our language courses. So the questions are, how do we effectively connect our world language courses to the real world? How do we make language learning meaningful and relevant to our students? What is cultural competency and how is it effectively assessed in our world language classes? And how can we connect our world language students to their community and the target culture at large? Topic 2E is resources. Which type of resources directly and positively impact student outcomes and proficiency and achievement? How can we ensure that our resources directly support our world languages curriculum and our essential standards? What strategies can we employ to ensure vertical and horizontal alignment across the district? And how can we ensure that our resources remain relevant to our students' interests? Topic 3 is kind of a beefier one. You can see the font is smaller on this slide. So the first one is, how can we promote language learning and improve student retention in our World Languages program? At what age should the formal study of world languages begin? How can we effectively communicate the benefits of language learning to all stakeholders? How should world language credit be structured and communicated in Parkway? What adaptations can be made to the hiring process to fill our open ASL teaching positions? And other languages available to Parkway students relevant to our ever-changing city, state, country, and world? And lastly, how can we accommodate the learning of languages that Parkway does not offer? We would love to offer every language in the world, but we know that that's just not feasible. That's all of our questions. I'll take any questions you may have, that's all of our topics and questions, and I'll take any questions you may have.
I just have to say, as being part of that subcommittee, it was, going back to your first slide, when I heard about the seal of biliteracy, that shocked, I know Debbie and I, we had no idea. And, I think, and you've put it in here with your questions, is if people knew these things, I think there'd be a little bit more wanting to do these world languages.
Yes.
As I was touring schools that first week, I actually brought this up to a bunch of people, and they were very excited about it.
Yay.
And then also, I know we talked about, when it comes to culture and kind of going into schools, I know many of the schools, we talked about this, do the international nights in the elementary schools.
Yes.
And somehow tying that with, getting them ready for a world language potentially. I'm just glad to see all these questions and what we talked about in our meeting.
Yeah, thank you so much. Any other
Can I, when saying all that, are you suggesting we could market better?
Yeah.
Or is that, yeah, I thought, I'm trying to get to the.
It was in here, of how do we,
Yeah.
effectively communicate the benefits.
With all stakeholders, yep.
Actually, if I could just mention, the three of us, Lauren and Kevin and I are meeting with members of the Indian community and this is a result of some of the things we, because they really would like us to offer language, but I think we've come to the conclusion that they can actually participate in the seal of biliteracy as a way to get really credit. Because we don't think we have enough students to offer the program or the, but we certainly, I think, so we're gonna have a meeting with them next week to offer this option. So I think that'll, again, that whole question about we have new cultures, how do we accommodate them?
Yes.
I think that's your last question, is something we, I think, have to be aware of. How can we assist and help? Because certainly we have, just look at the number of students we have now from foreign countries or from, are really coming here as immigrants, and how are we going to help and assist them in their learning?
I was glad to see the question about how do we retain or how do we make sure we're able to hire teachers.
Yes.
And not just specifically ASL, but, most of us have been on the board long enough to have seen some of the shifting of languages that we used to offer and we don't anymore because of either availability of teachers or interest. So that certainly is key
It is.
across all of them.
Yeah, we're excited to research that one.
I think one of the other key questions that hit this board that we've been talking about is at what age do we start? Currently, we don't have a specific curriculum for foreign language in the elementary school. And so we all know that the earlier we can introduce foreign languages, the easier it is to learn it and to continue on
Absolutely.
with that curriculum. So we've been talking about this for years, and I'm hoping that we'll see something come of
I know,
that.
I'm excited to see what comes from it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all this effort. It's a lot of work.
Thank you, yeah, I'm excited. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. We, I dare say we are completed with our agenda. So may I have a motion and a second to adjourn the regular meeting?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. 7:31, Bogus.